Morning. Welcome to this week's episode of Elevate Your Coaching Business. We are going to have a look at the true behind the scenes of how I started making 5-figure weeks. Everybody always goes for they try to look for the 10K months. But what drives me bananas about our industry is trying to chase the cash, because when you try to chase the cash, you actually miss it all, which is what I did. So this is why I want to share this with you. So if your personality type is, that you're an action taker, you're a go-getter, and you also get distracted by shiny objects, pay attention, because this will support you very much so. It supports everybody, but in particular this personality style, because that's my personality style. Okay. So for those of you that don't know me, I'm Joanna O'Halloran, a business mentor and sales expert for coaches who want to multiply their leads, their clients, and their revenue. And just to give you a little bit of a stat, in case you're like, that's great, but who is this girl? Like, what does she talk about? And yes, I called myself a girl, even though I'm in my 40s. 100% of my clients generate leads. 100% of my clients generate leads. 100% of them. I move mountains so that they can create sales on the back end of that. The generating the leads is the easy part. Shifting their perspective, mindset, consistency, commitment around sales is where I put the majority of my effort and energy, because actually pulling in the leads is easy. And in case you're like, okay, again, 100% of clients getting leads, that's great, but are we talking about one or two? No, we're not. We're not. The lowest number of leads any client has got so far, the lowest is 79. The lowest. Imagine what a difference it would do to your coaching business if you had 79 leads. Pretty cool, huh? So if you want to know how to do this, connect with me. But today, what we're going to do is we're going to have a look at the behind the scenes of how I started making 5-figure weeks, sales weeks. So to be super transparent, we're talking about sales. We're not talking about cash. Yes, there have been some 5-figure cash weeks, but we're talking about sales. Okay, sales. So be very mindful of when you see things online. Are people talking about cash, or are they talking about sales? Because they're very different, right? Like you could have 10K sales week, but you could walk out with 500 quid in cash, So just be super mindful of this too. And make sure that anyone that you're following and you are getting advice from is being transparent with what they're doing. So I don't always have 5-figure sales weeks. Neither do I always go after 5-figure sales weeks. Nor do I always have 5-figure sales months. There's sometimes that I have 4-figure sales months. There's sometimes I have 4-figure cash months, as in new cash in. And it's all business, right? Because it's all learning, moving, shifting, all those fun things. But let me take you behind the scenes. Because there's a couple of things that were crucial for me shifting out of inconsistent to consistent, and from me shifting out of the constant doing and the hustle and the bustle, and feeling aligned with what I was creating. So like I said, if your personality style is that you're a real action taker, or you have that squirrel syndrome like me, as in ooh squirrel, then pay attention, because this will support you. So what shifted first and foremost was actually my focus. Because I was trying lots of different things, and some things were working and other things weren't. But here's the thing. When something was working, I went, great, let me jump to the next thing. So rather than connecting and focusing with what was working, I was still jumping to the next thing. So I was always looking for something else, something better. And the reason why I'm saying that, if you're like an action taker or go-getter, you will generate results anyway, just like me. You will generate results. But the difference between those sporadic, haphazard results and consistent, momentum, ongoing results is what I'm sharing with you now. Focus was the first one. Focus. So I reset myself and started literally breaking down on a piece of paper. Here's what I've done in the last 12 months. So as in, here's what I've put out. Here's the structure that I've used for it. Let me see what has worked. What worked? And there was key things that worked. Connection. Putting out one offer. And being super focused on connecting with leads. Now you're probably saying, okay, you said connection and you're saying connecting with leads. Yes, I'm talking about, they're two slightly different things. So when I'm talking about connection, is actually putting myself out there to build connection rather than sitting back and waiting on people to come to me, which is what I have been doing. I've been sitting back going, here, my doors are open, let's go. But some people were coming, but not everybody was. So like actually putting myself out there and creating the connections and meeting people, whether they were leads or not, was a huge thing. The second thing, then the difference then with the connection with leads is when I know somebody is a lead, actually continuing momentum with that conversation, connecting with specific leads. So focus was a huge thing. So I let go, like literally unveil the curtains, I let go of all the like noise and distraction. Even if something was slightly working, I still let it go because I'm like, no, I get to focus and this is the pathway and the runway that I'm going on. And if I want to actually create the momentum and create the impact that I want in my business, I've got to do this. Like, this is my runway. I can't have a runway with loads of side turns that I'm parking into the hangar every other second because something else has caught my eye and I want to pick up another passenger, or, you know, I want to do something else. It doesn't work like that. This is my runway. So that strategically is what I did, but that's not the biggest shift. That is not the biggest shift that it took. The biggest shift that it took actually was energetically inside of me and to be comfortable standing still. So like you'll see it everywhere on my content, on my copy, that I talk about committed consistency, committed consistency, committed consistency, committed consistency. When you are committed, you don't have a back door, right? It's a non-negotiable. Like, you're not like Rachel and Friends where you're going to jump out the bathroom window if it's not going your way. You're all in, like no messing, all in. Then when it comes to being consistent, you still have to be committed to the consistency. So consistency isn't just showing up all the time. Consistency is being consistent with your message, with the specific strategy that you're using, and not deviating from it. So like, I'll give you an example. One of the things I hear from my clients quite a lot is, I feel like it's not working. I feel like it's not working. They want to jump to the next thing. But the moment they jump, they've lost the momentum that they've already started to build. So think about it. If you're cycling up a hill, right, you can see that the end is in sight. You can see it, but you run out of like air, like your lungs start to, you're huffing and you're puffing, but you're only halfway up the mountain and you get off the bike. What happens? You've completely lost your momentum, right? Now the end in sight feels like it is forever away. You're wondering whether or not there's any point. Should I even bother? What's the point in doing this? It's just easier. Let me take the side turn. Let me hop on a bus. Like, there's always there's something else that we will pull in. That's your mind trying to sabotage you really badly. And this is one of the things that you have no choice but to work through if you want to have a successful business. And it's like really soul searching inside of you to see, well, why are you giving up and like moving in a different direction? And it'll normally come back to one of like a few things. It'll normally come back to that you're afraid of being rejected, that, you know, you're terrified of being judged because you're already judging yourself. So who else do you think is going to judge you? And that you are like, I'm just not good enough for this. That you are creating the stories around it so that you can be right about now another thing that didn't work and jump to the next thing. So like, I had this awful habit of being super excited about being busy. I was like the buzzy bee, even moving in yellow, being the buzzy bee. So like, if I was busy, boom, I like that. That was a good thing, right? That was solid. And sure, how many times has it ever been reaffirmed that, you know, when you talk about, oh my God, the day flew by, I was so busy. Isn't that a great complaint? Is it? Is it that you're completely unaware of what's going on around you? Is it? I'm going to say no. Right? I'm going to say no. And I'm going to say again, this is something else that's been drummed into our heads. But I was the busy person. If I'm busy, then it means I'm being productive, which means that I'm adding value, which means that I'm good enough, which means that I'm lovable. So I just brought you down the rabbit hole of my mind, right? But this is what was coming up for me when I was like being busy and distracting myself rather than being super focused. So when I connected with that and realized, okay, the way I'm going about this, if I'm actually serious about building my business, I need to either shit or get off the pot, because, and getting off the pot wasn't an option for me. Like, as in stopping was not an option for me, because well, it's just not an option. I don't even have it because it's because I choose for it not to be. Like, that would feel awful for me. So I doubled down and went, right, this is what I get to focus on. But let me have a look. Let me do a temperature check inside and see how I really feel about this. How do I really feel about myself? What am I really afraid of? What am I worried is going to happen? And then if it does happen, so what? Because when I had them all out, then I could go, okay, my favorite questions are, what is it I'm committed to? What do I need support with? And who do I need support from to make it happen? So what I needed support with was structure. What I needed support with was accountability, not just jumping around. And I've always had mentors. Since 2020, I have never not had a mentor, and I've had multiple mentors, because like I've had one for business and I've had others for leadership, because people are not going to do both, right? It's not a thing. So like I have multiple mentors, but the one thing I knew that I needed was somebody's personality style that was very different to mine. So as in, they weren't that squirrel person, and that it would like be focused, accountable, no shit. So that was created. I created in multiple ways. I created through like my own mastermind, like with my coaching friends. And so like the circle of us, like peer-led mastermind, where we talk about what we're creating. It's like a no shit, it's been done, there's accountability and all that. And then I shifted with my coaches, like I shifted in terms of where I wanted to go and what I wanted to create. And because I got serious about it and focused and doubled down, things started to skyrocket. They literally started to skyrocket. So connect with yourself today, because it's never going to be about the strategy. You already have the strategy. I guarantee you have the strategy. Even if you plucked one off the internet, you have the strategy. But where are you not going inside of you to apply it? So let me give you another example. Like one of the most common traits that like when clients come to me is they have lots of different strategies going on, but they're not focused on connection. The connection piece is normally missing. Because when you have the connection piece down, once you implement the strategy, it's like it just skyrockets because the connection is already there. But when you don't have the connection, it's the easiest piece to avoid. And it's normally us action takers and us go-getters that avoid the connection, because that's where the judgment, the ridicule, the we can't control it comes up. So again, my invitation for you is have a look at what you're creating right now. And are you committed to it? Are you doubling down, or are you getting distracted? What are, like, when you're committed to whatever it is that you're creating, what specifically are you committed to? Are you committed to making it happen no matter what? Or are you still putting conditions on it? Because when you put conditions on it, that's when it goes into like, well, I'll only do this if I feel comfortable, which requires you to shift inside yourself and have a look and go, let me do a temperature check. What am I really feeling? But you've got to be honest. If you fight what you're feeling, if you try and avoid what you're feeling, if you pretend that you're not feeling it, or if your instant words out of your mouth are, I don't know, then you're in avoidance, and it's not going to support you for going to where you want to go. Because there's not one successful business owner out there that will tell you anything different. How you lead yourself, how you manage your mind, how you think about things always needs to be up leveled so that you can go to the next level. Always. You cannot avoid it. There is no one and done. It is an ongoing work in process, and you have to be committed to that. That is the only way to make a shift. So this is what went on behind the scenes in my business. Not sexy, is it? But it's the reality. It's the truth. It's that shifting. It's that like going, okay, how do I feel today? How do I honestly feel? Am I being honest about being honest, or am I lying to myself? Like one of the things that Robert always says to me is, are you lying about lying? I'm like, yeah, I am. That's when I know, because as he always says, he can see my mind going off. So like check in with yourself and go, okay, how am I feeling? Are my results matching my feelings? Are my thoughts matching my results? And if not, then you've got to start being honest with yourself. It's that simple. If this is something that you want support with, and you know that you want to start generating those consistent results, the consistent clients, then connect with me. Send me a message. And even if you don't know what to say, just say, hey, Joanne, saw your live, love to have a chat. That simple. One of my clients actually said to me, I'm her Yoda. So you're in safe hands. And like I said, 100% of my clients get leads. I will do everything in my power to make sure that you get sales on the back end, everything in my power to make sure that you do. You're so well supported in the community. So send me a message if this is something that you want to experience, you want to create, and you know that, look, I can't keep doing what I'm doing. Something has got to change and it needs to be now. Then connect with me. I'll talk to you all soon. Bye.